X-Men Mutant Apocalypse for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System was a significant release in the world of superhero video games. Developed by Capcom and released in 1994, this action-packed platformer allowed players to control their favorite X-Men characters as they fought against iconic villains and worked to save mutants captured by Magneto and his henchmen. The game stood out for its gameplay, visuals, and approach, which gave each mutant unique powers and abilities, paving the way for a rewarding and immersive X-Men experience. Capcom, already a household name for hits like Street Fighter and Mega Man, took on the X-Men license, eager to capture the comic's intense action and bring Marvel's superheroes to life. Released at the height of X-Men's popularity, the game was developed with a focus on vibrant graphics, challenging gameplay, and character-driven storylines. Capcom's experience with action and fighting games directly influenced Mutant Apocalypse, helping the game avoid the pitfalls of previous superhero games and pushing it toward critical acclaim. In development, Capcom's team focused on differentiating each character's moveset, allowing each mutant's unique powers and personality to shine through. The console's hardware was pushed to its limits with vivid graphics and smooth animations, making it one of the more visually striking games for the system. The team's expertise in level design and character animation paid off in creating a game that felt true to the X-Men comics, with missions, characters, and enemies that were immediately recognizable to fans of the franchise. The story draws from classic X-Men lore. In the game, Professor X learns that Magneto has captured several mutants and holds them captive on the island of Genosha. To save these mutants, Professor X sends a team of X-Men, including Cyclops, Wolverine, Psylocke, Gambit, and Beast, each with unique abilities that will help in their mission. The plot unfolds as the player progresses through different missions assigned to each character. After completing these character-specific missions, the story leads the X-Men to Magneto's stronghold, where they must face some of the most feared adversaries from the X-Men universe, including Tusk, Apocalypse, and the deadly Magneto himself. The narrative structure provides a sense of continuity and immersion as players follow each character's journey and contribute to the overall rescue mission. While Mutant Apocalypse doesn't follow one specific comic storyline, it integrates many popular elements from X-Men comics, allowing fans to see some of their favorite villains and settings. From battling in Genosha's industrial complexes to fighting their way through Magneto's fortress, the game balances faithful character representation with fast-paced action. The game is an action platformer with a beat-em-up twist, combining elements of Capcom's expertise in fighting games with a side-scrolling platform format. At the start, players select from 5 X-Men characters: Cyclops, Wolverine, Psylocke, Gambit, and Beast. Each character has a unique set of moves inspired by their mutant powers. Cyclops, for example, uses his optic blasts for ranged attacks, while Wolverine relies on his retractable claws and agility for close-quarters combat. This variety in abilities encourages players to explore different approaches to each level, using each mutant's strengths to overcome specific obstacles. The game's level design reflects each mutant's capabilities. For instance, Beast's level capitalizes on his wall-crawling abilities, allowing him to navigate vertical spaces that other characters couldn't reach. Psylocke's agility and acrobatic moves are showcased in levels requiring finesse and rapid responses. This design choice helps players feel that the levels were built around each character's unique abilities, enhancing immersion and adding replayability. The combat has a surprising depth, with each character's moveset featuring special moves, combos, and basic attacks. Capcom brought their experience from fighting games like Street Fighter into Mutant Apocalypse, giving each X-Man special moves activated by specific button inputs. Wolverine, for example, has powerful claw slashes and acrobatic maneuvers, while Gambit can throw kinetically charged cards at enemies from a distance. These special attacks add a satisfying layer of complexity, rewarding skilled players with the chance to defeat enemies more efficiently. The game features some of the X-Men's most feared adversaries as bosses, with appearances from Apocalypse, Juggernaut, and Omega Red, culminating in a showdown with Magneto. These boss fights are challenging and require players to learn enemy patterns and leverage their chosen mutants' abilities effectively. Each boss has a distinct attack style and requires different tactics to defeat, ensuring that these encounters feel like true superhero battles. The game features a mission-based progression system, with each mission corresponding to one X-Man's unique level. As players complete these missions, they unlock additional stages leading up to the final confrontation with Magneto. Mutant Apocalypse also uses a limited life system, which means players need to be careful with their chosen character's health. If a character loses all lives, players may have to start the game over, which adds to the challenge and gives each life extra significance. Capcom's expertise in fighting games influenced the development of Mutant Apocalypse. Many of the game's combo moves and special attacks resemble mechanics from Street Fighter II, showing Capcom's intent to give a deeper combat system than typical action games of the time. One of the unique aspects is that each character's initial mission is specifically designed to suit their mutant abilities. Beast, for instance, is placed in a level with climbing sections that use his wall-crawling skills, while Gambit's stage takes advantage of his agility and range. It is known for its challenging gameplay, with difficult platforming sections and relentless enemies. This high difficulty level was typical of many Capcom games, and encouraged players to master each character's moveset. Initially, Capcom considered including other X-Men characters, but had to focus on 5 to maintain game balance and stay within the console's hardware limitations. This decision allowed the developers to focus on perfecting each character rather than stretching resources across a larger roster. The game features several references to classic X-Men comic storylines and characters, including iconic villains and mutant themes of persecution and resistance. Even though Mutant Apocalypse doesn't follow one specific comic arc, the overall tone and settings are faithful to the X-Men universe. For its time, the game featured some of the most detailed graphics on the Super Nintendo, with smooth animations and large, colorful sprites that made each character instantly recognizable. The soundtrack also received praise for its energetic, driving compositions that complemented the action-packed gameplay. Even decades after its release, Mutant Apocalypse remains a fan favorite among X-Men fans and retro gamers. The game's distinct character abilities, challenging gameplay, and faithful representation of the X-Men universe have helped it stand out as one of the best superhero games for the Super Nintendo. X-Men Mutant Apocalypse is often celebrated as one of the best adaptations of a superhero team for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. By focusing on individual character abilities and blending them with Capcom's experience in action gameplay, the game created an experience that felt true to the spirit of the X-Men. The unique level designs, challenging boss fights, and deep combat mechanics elevated it beyond a standard beat-em-up, making it one of the most memorable titles in the Nintendo library. For X-Men fans and retro gaming enthusiasts alike, it is a beloved title that captures the essence of the Marvel Comics. Its challenging gameplay, well-designed character abilities, and memorable bosses continue to draw players in, proving that Capcom's work on this game made a lasting impact. X-Men Mutant Apocalypse stands as a testament to Capcom's expertise in creating dynamic action games and remains a celebrated entry in the history of superhero gaming.